Welcome back to Off Ledger in our two-part special with the amazing Lucy Cohen. In the previous episode, we heard about Lucy's formative years in Cardiff and how her refusal to accept the status quo fueled a tremendous level of ambition. But in part two, we're going to up the octane levels as the story gets wilder. So what I'd like to get onto is just to pedal back a little, because some of the experiences that you had, particularly the notable early years part of Mazuma, something happened to you. What happened?
So are we talking about the almost dying bit?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one.
Well, that wasn't really the early years. That was only about 5 years ago now. So we've been going quite a long time, and at this point, it was a sizable company. You know, we were in the multi-millions. We were. It was before the big investment, but you know, we were working through the hell that was COVID, trying to juggle that. I think I had about 25 staff at the time. Yeah, and one day my body performed a mutiny on me and decided out of nowhere to make 17 arterial blood clots, which all landed in my legs. And I thought because I was an ex-lifter, I thought I'd like torn my hamstring. It felt like my kind of hamstring exploded, and it was really painful, but no real exterior swelling or signs, which is normally the sign of like one of those sorts of injuries. So like took me about an hour to hobble home. My dog's
So
a
it just
spaniel.
came on just like that.
Yes, boom,
Really
boom,
quick.
like that. Just out walking a dog, boom. Which is why it felt like a sort of acute injury. Hobbled home. My foot was really sore. I couldn't walk. It was like really painful. We were just sort of coming out of COVID. So the next day I managed to go and see my osteopath. And again, timing's everything, right? Luck, timing, universing. Happened to get an appointment with my osteopath who was like, it's probably this. It's probably an injury. It's probably like swelling and pressing, which is why your foot's not got great circulation. I'm just going to send you to the GP just in case. I went to the GP who wasn't my usual GP, who would have might been, oh, you're young, you're fit, you've got no risk factors, you're an athlete. It's probably nothing. Rest up for a little bit. I'm just to be sure, I'm doing this test. I'm going to send you for blood tests. And then all that anxiety you've ever had where you had a blood test and you convinced yourself you're dying of something, turns out when you're really ill, they really ring you very, very quickly. And I got a phone call the next morning. I was actually in the hairdresser. I was very excited. First haircut since COVID, very excited. And they were like, you need to get to hospital now. I was like, pardon? They're like, you have to get to hospital now. I was like, but can I just finish my haircut? They're like, no, whatever you're doing, drop it, hospital now. I was like, oh, okay. So I just got in my car, and literally just had my car keys, my phone with me. Got in my car with wet hair, drove to the hospital, and at the door there was a porter there waiting with, and a nurse waiting with a wheelchair. And I was still not thinking, okay, this is weird. It's when they started running, I was like, oh, this is bad. Something bad has happened.
That's not what you want, is it?
No one propelling you through the hospital on a wheelchair at pace is good. And then it kind of like subsided a bit because the consultants I saw suddenly, and they were like stripping my clothes off me, putting like lines in me. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? And the consultant was like, look, your blood test results were so weird that if they were real, you'd be dead. So we think there's probably something wrong with the machine, but we have to treat it like it's real just in case. He's like, but you'd be dead if they were real. So like, don't worry too much. I was like, oh, okay, false alarm. They've just got to do the admin, like tick the box. No, it turned out actually that those were real and I should have been dead, and spent the next nearly 2 years, 18 months, 2 years, having every test under the sun done on me, being some kind of medical marvel, feeling like my body wasn't my own. And through all that, having to still show up, run a business, listen to your team who, you know, being ill is and running a business is indistinguishable from not being ill and running a business, because people still complain to you about, you didn't send us Easter eggs this year, and I'm not happy working from home, and my husband's so useless, can I go on furlough because he won't look after the kids? And I'm still dealing with that from like a hospital bed. You don't get the empathy when you're the boss.
You don't. No. So, but what was the impact of all of that on Lucy internally, I mean, you're kind of brushing quite closely with death here.
Yeah.
Did that change the way you saw your life, your success, or your priorities, or what was the impact?
I responded to that in ways that I've unpicked in therapy since. Because after that happened, I was like, I need to go to therapy again. So kids go to therapy, best money you'll spend. So I did what I do when I feel under pressure, which is to become more I'm going to put inverted commas, the worst parts of me. I started just throw myself at overachieving. So that book that is behind me on the video, I wrote that whilst I was still very, very ill, and that won an award.
Just forget the first million.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually like it. I don't think it's that good a book, but I'll write a better one. But yeah, I was like, I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go for a funding round. And it was almost like I was doing everything I could possibly prove that I existed, and that I wasn't weak. Because there's a sort of shame that comes with a big illness, that especially someone who's been an athlete, very in control, a dancer, an athlete in control of my body. I felt like my body had really betrayed me. And so I just did everything I possibly can to, again, I didn't have money, but I've got a brain. All right, I haven't got my body, but I've got a brain. That works. Let's use that. So that's what I did. But simultaneously, I think what it gave me the message of was I was 38 when it happened. Um, that could have been the end. Like that could have been, I should have been a statistic. I should have been one of those people who's like, oh my God, and she just died walking the dog. Isn't it sad? And then someone's used a photo I wouldn't have approved for my funeral. That would have been, yeah, I'd already done a lot by that stage, but I could do so much more. And I remember just thinking, whether you believe in, fate, universe, powers that be, whatever, I remember just thinking, one day I'll close my eyes and I will never open them again. And I will never get the chance to hurl myself at life, good or bad. So I'm just going to hurl. I'm on bonus time now, bonus tracks on the album. I'm going to hurl myself at everything I can and experience everything. Lucy Eat World, just go and do all the things, because the most scary thing in the world is one day not being able to do it and not having that choice.
So, I mean, going back to, the subject of off ledger, which is looking at kind of what can derail you and how you can, people have bad times, but you can overcome them. And that's what we're all about. But you've kind of done that, and that really had the opposite effect. It completely turbocharged you.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously still a lot of healing that has to go with that. And I'm still healing from it. I'm still kind of reconciling, even really like people who've known me in later years, I've got this like silver hair. That happened because my hair went white when I got ill. My body just gave up making melanin. A load of it fell out, and the top half of my hair is now white because of it. And I just was like, well, fine, I'll be a superhero, whatever. I'm Rogue. So, it's kind of accepting what you accepting what you can't control and controlling what you can. And I think, stuff does derail you. I'm an anxiety sufferer. I've suffered with depression. I've been very low at points in my life, but those don't have to stop you from moving forward, even if it's like creeping forwards. And that looks different for everybody. And I think the momentum timing momentum is everything. Getting started again from a standing start is hard. If you can keep some momentum, no matter how small, you do the favor for future you. And a lot of what I think about on the days when you don't want to do the thing is actually something I learned in powerlifting. So when you're training really, really hard, and powerlifting was great for me because that's the one place I'll back myself to, argue myself in and out of anything in a room. You can't do that on a powerlifting platform at the Commonwealth Championships. You can lift that weight or you can't. There's no ambiguity there. I can't go over and negotiate. I know I didn't lift it, but could you pretend that could we
go on, give me some
negotiate?
points anyway.
Give me 75% the lift. You can't do that. Yes or no. You're strong enough on the day or not. And lots of factors affect strength isn't always absolute. Some days you're just stronger than others because of things you can't control. So it was powerlifting. I was always a very nervous competitor. I was always very, very nervous. And which I think, again, people will find surprising. Very nervy lifter, not confident on the platform. And I made myself do it. because it pushed me to be uncomfortable in an arena that wasn't, there were much better lifters than me. I wasn't the best. And so what that teaches you, powerlifting, is that I learned then that on the days when you just really don't want to do something, so towards the end of it, you heavy training cycle, your body's tired, you're probably carrying an injury, you're hungry all the time, you're exhausted, but you're not sleeping because your central nervous system's like going crackers, and you don't want to go and do the training. So my coach always used to say to me, you haven't got to go and do the session, do me a favor, just drive to the gym. And he's saying, then when you're there, just do me the next favor, get your bag out of the car, and then just walk through the door, and then just get your kit out, just do a warm up, just do a little warm up. And if you really still at any of those points really don't want to be there, turn around and go home. But something happens when you keep momentum is that you end up doing the thing you think you didn't want to or couldn't do, and that's everything.
Yeah. I mean, I did want to ask, how you got into this, because you were, UK Team GB,
British champion, Welsh champion, Commonwealth silver medalist.
And I mean, to people who know you, you're a huge person. I mean, you're what, 6'4"?
Oh yeah, 120 kilos.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're a big person.
Let the record state that I'm 5'3" and I weigh under 60 kilos.
What in earth possessed you to go, powerlifting, that's the thing for me. But what drove you to do it? Because that's something that not a lot of people immediately flock to.
No, it's not.
Where were you in life when you started it as well?
So I think like a lot of women my age and I come from dance as well, had a very unhealthy relationship with my body and food. I've had an eating disorder in my early 20s. And I recognized a real disconnect between how I saw myself, how I saw my body, and what the kind of the landscape of what women's bodies were supposed to look like, what wasn't beautiful. And I really wanted to find a way to heal once and for all from it. And full disclosure again, it's always there. Like that little voice that tells you you're not, attractive enough or beautiful enough or whatever because you don't fit the beauty standard, is always there for everybody, I think, in some way. So I wanted,
not me, obviously.
I mean, apart from you, Andy, because you're a Grecian god. So
but for everybody else,
for us mere mortals, we have that doubt. So I had started seeing a personal trainer, thinking I want to do this properly. I don't want to do some faddy thing, and I don't want my motivation to be being skinny. I want my motivation to be function, strength, purpose, and accountability. If I go and see somebody to train with, I have to go and turn up. I'm paying for it. I hate wasting money. I'm Jewish, so I went and that's what I went and did. And actually, as we were training, he was like, "You're weirdly strong. Like you're weirdly strong." And he said, "Look, it's he said it's good to have a thing to train for, like a half marathon or a Ironman, or that year everyone did CrossFit. That 2012 was the year everyone did CrossFit. Everyone does high rocks now. So have a thing to train for." And I agree with that, because having an end goal means that you've got something to steer your sails at. So I was like, yeah, that makes absolute sense. All right. So we just went online, found a local powerlifting meet in some working men's club in the back end of nowhere in West Wales. And I thought this would be fun, something to train for, something different, try something new. And I went there, and I did a good performance, and somebody from British powerlifting was there and said, "Have you thought about actually training for this? Because you're strong. You could do this." And because I'm me and I've got a terrible personality, I was like, well, I'm an athlete now, and that's what I did.
Right. Incredible, because it's not something that's even sort of vaguely crossed a lot of people's minds, certainly not my mind, that to even get into it, and then you just start and become a national athlete on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very on brand, that.
So let's just talk a little bit about now. So you've kind of stepped back a little from Mazuma.
Well, no, I'm still very much CEOing. Yeah, still CEO and driving that stuff. I just appear to not believe in time apparently, and do a load of other things as well.
Just fit in way more. Yeah. So what else is going on top of Mazuma?
So I'm currently president of AAT. So that's a huge honour. I am also currently doing my doctorate. So I did my MBA with all that spare time I have. Finished that last year. And
that's in...
So my MBA, so Master of Business, I did that.
Oh, you're doing the MBA, sorry.
Yes, I completed that. I did that last year, decided to just, sneeze that one out. Did my MBA, and then off the back of that, my thesis and the research that I was doing led to I'm doing a doctorate in it, which is essentially kind of looking around AI in accounting. So I'm a doctoral researcher in that.
And what have you uncovered so far?
So obviously still very much researching, but anyone who maybe has seen some of my research that I've published is looking around the appropriateness of large language models against transactions, the risks, the dangers, where they work, where they don't, how that impacts kind of society really in terms of how it looks at tax take, the wider impact of handing control to companies that aren't here, especially when the softwares that they're plugged into feed directly into our tax system, which feeds directly into how much tax we'll pay and how we fund schools and hospitals and things. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at.
Well, you should have that finished by lunchtime today, I suspect. That's
genuinely
entirely reasonable. I
have genuinely negotiated this down. It's supposed to be 6 years this takes, and I spoke to somebody who has a supervisor who has, I think, the same level of rage. I also have ADHD, clearly, obviously, has the same raging level of ADHD that I have. And I was like, can I do this in 2 years? He was like, yeah, why not? So yeah, that's what I'm attempting to do.
Lucy Cohen, it's an incredible story. There's loads more we could touch on, but we don't have the time, unfortunately. But what I would just love is if there's somebody listening to this who is very similar, perhaps, if that's even possible, to the Lucy.
For their sake, I hope not. It's horrible up in this brain. Like, don't live up here.
Someone who's thinking, I work in an accounting firm. I would like to be the leader of an accounting firm, but I'm not sure I've got it in me. What would you say to that person?
So first of all, not everyone has to want to be a leader. It's absolutely fine not to. I think we live in a world where we're like, yeah, be like, be the boss and hustle culture and all the rest of it. Absolutely fine not to want to do this. Like, there's an argument where I might be happier if I wasn't. But if you do have the sort of relentless personality that I have, and you think that you want to do it, start. So go try, because what is the actual worst thing that's going to happen? It's better to have tried and failed than to have never tried. I'd rather regret what I do rather than what I don't. And my only advice would be absolutely wedded. You have to be wanting to solve a problem. I think businesses that do well want to solve a problem for themselves, for somebody else, for society, whatever else. Be wedded to that. Laser focus on that instead of the kind of nebulous concept of influence or disruption or money. Problem solve, because solving problems has value everywhere, somewhere. Money has value sometimes it doesn't. Power has value sometimes it doesn't, but problem solving always has value. And if you do that, that is the single biggest skill that you can have as a human and the most transferable skill that you can have anywhere. So stick wedded to that. Know that you will never, ever, ever feel like you've got it nailed. Like, I never feel like I know what I'm doing, but that's where your gift is, because as soon as you're thinking, oh, I've got this, eye off the ball, and that's when you fall off.
For someone who, when we started speaking this morning, described themselves as a moron.
Yeah, I think I'm a moron.
It's fantastic. The words that you have shared are going to be really valuable to a lot of people, I am sure. And I want to thank you very much for sharing them with both myself and with everyone who is listening. Lucy Cohen, a legend in her own lifetime. Thank you. See you later.
Pleasure. Thanks, Andy.
Bye-bye. You've been listening to Off Ledger, the podcast where accountants share their personal stories of success and failure as they evolve to become leaders in the profession.